This is an awesome Monday. This is Dante Suave, United World of Sports, rolling solo today. Shout out to Mr. J. Hope you're getting plenty of rest for that trip, and we'll see you next week. With that, let's go ahead and get started. Now, I don't know if anybody heard, but I was over the weekend. I was watching the replay of the preseason games over the weekend. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But I saw breaking news that Dallas signed Von Miller. So of course that'll be one of the topics that we'll talk about today. Sorry, picking up my water. Anyway, um, so yeah, so I decided right before the show started to look at everything. So one of the stories that I will use will be coming from Dallas Cowboys on Sports Illustrated. I think that's what SI stands for. Says Cowboys updated cap space with Von Miller's reported contract details. So from what I was reading, um, apparently Von Miller is taking less money than he did with the Commanders. Sorry, I almost called them the Redskins. That's why I hesitated. Um, So it looks like he has a 1 year, $5.5 million deal with a maximum of 7.5 million, which is less than what he took last year because he had a $6.1 million deal with a max value of 10.5 million with incentives. So and that really didn't do much to the to the Cowboys cap space. And according to Over the Cap, the Cowboys were at 19.2 million in cap space before inking Miller to his deal, which leaves them roughly with 13.7. They're thinking about making another move since they just signed the defensive coordinator Parker. Uh, Looks like they might be trying to go for Adoree Jackson, who used to be with Parker in Philadelphia. So, but they're not the only suitors. So obviously, money is going to be an injury. Uh, uh, sorry, money is going to be a factor, obviously, which means that he may not end up in Dallas. So, and then that brings up another point. People talking about, oh, well, Dallas should do this, Dallas should do that. Are Are people making this decision while knowing or not knowing what a team's cap space is? And the fact that, I mean, yeah, they have the money, but I mean, it's easy to tell somebody else that, hey, it don't matter if you go over the penalty, you got the money. Would you do the same with your money? If it was your money that we're talking about, I always bring that up because it's easy to say what somebody else should do with their money. Now, especially seeing that you're not factoring in, well, do you know that the money that will be offered to the player is going to take? See, it takes two in that situation. See, it takes the owner to put out the offer, and then the other person, the person that the money's offered to, has to be willing to take it. If they're not willing to take it, what's the point? And if the person offering the money already knows that, therefore he doesn't even bother making an offer, how are you going to tell him he made a mistake if he knows beforehand the amount of money that a certain player might be looking for? And and how do you know that one player is going to be what gets everybody over the hump? Because very rarely will you see a team where players take less money and those teams are so successful that they end up in Super Bowls like New England. There was a whole bunch of stuff that went into that, and unfortunately, yes, part of that was some taking some shortcuts, obviously, aka cheating. So, uh, because the Spygate, it was what it was, right? So now, um, but they really could use Adoree Jackson, seeing that they have two people that are in question because they don't know what they got in Siobhan Revel, and we know Deron Bland is great when he's healthy. But the question is seeing that he hasn't been looking that great when he's been coming back, has he been completely healthy or has he been completely ready to come back? So I think this is a great veteran move. Will it get Dallas over the hump? Probably. It depends. I was gonna say probably not, but then I gotta say it depends because if you put the right person in a room that could bring the right energy and the right chemistry that the team needs. Now, Von Miller is a distraction. Now, how much of a distraction we don't know because he hasn't been like the distraction we've known him to be since he left Denver and the Rams. He hasn't been that guy. So is but for the amount of money that they paid for him, it's still a good deal either way for the Cowboys. And I am, as everybody knows, because I've been saying it for weeks, Dallas, uh, Dallas, the Steelers, the Jets, the Ravens, the Bills, my Pats, and my Buccaneers. I got an special eye on all these teams because obviously the Pats and the Bucks because they're my teams. But the other five, because Bills have to win this year, Ravens have to win, even have to win this year. Who else fired a coach? The Giants got to do something this year because uh uh they fired their coach. Who else? If I think of any more, I'll let you know by next week. But let's keep the show moving, shall we? Let's see here. What else went on over the weekend? Let me see. Because I had it all figured out, but I've been at work all day and Jeremy. Okay. Okay. I know what else I wanted to talk about. Okay, so Jeremy Love. Jeremy Love got injured over the weekend. Um, People have been complaining about the tackle where the where the ankles get pinned because when you grab on to the person, you usually grab them around the waist and you retch back and your body weight lands on their ankles and it doesn't look like Jeremy Love is like hurt, but he's probably going to be out for some time. And I saw an article where it said that the Cardinals did Jeremy Love uh that the fact that he got hurt was partially on was the Cardinals were at fault. Anybody that has listened to my show knows one thing about me. I don't believe I don't believe all this rest, especially depending on your team and where they usually sit. The more lost seasons that you have, the more that whoever's on your team, starters, second stringers, third stringers, need as much and as many reps and as much practice um contact practice is possible. Why? Because, in my opinion, and to me, this has been backed up based upon how teams end up playing. If you don't practice with actual hard hitting contact until week one, it's going to take you some weeks to get ready. Now, I get the argument that, well, the preseason games don't mean nothing. Of course they mean something. You are officially applying for your job. You are officially applying for your job to see if you are gonna make the cut of 53. So they count. And if you're on the main, if you are part of the first string, you got to make sure that you're ready for week one. And it's not like they have a bunch of games where you can figure that out. A lot of these teams don't be ready until week one. I'm sorry, the Bengals first stringers should be playing every week of the preseason, at least a quarter, based upon how they start every season with the amount of talent that they have. Are you kidding me? And I would be saying this. I would be saying the same thing about my Pats and the Bucks if they had the level of talent that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins has, and y'all always start off the season losing. I'm sorry, what? No, that's unacceptable. And I know, well, you're not out there, you don't know. You're right. You're you're not you're definitely not wrong in that analysis. And yes, it is possible for you to get hurt during the preseason and totally ruin the season for the team. And you sitting out don't seem to stop injuries from imploding teams. So so which one's worse is always my question. You're not completely ready week one, so you suffer injuries. So you sit them out, and then they start suffering injuries when the season starts because for whatever reason their body could not handle the contact. One of the reasons they couldn't handle the contact is because they haven't hardly been doing it. But I digress. Um, another reason uh I question is what does their off season look like? TO, we just talked about it last week. TO admitted that had he done better in terms of his off-season prep, then he would have been a better wide receiver. So if he can go hindsight is 2020 and finally admit that maybe some of the criticism about his play was fair, which I know some will look and they'll be like, that's not what he did. Well, think about it. If people like me admitted how talented he was, knew that there was something missing. Now, I did point my finger specifically at his personality. I did. I said I felt like he was cocky because the difference between confidence and arrogance, part of that is the results. What was the result? I don't mind if you're cocky, but the team better be winning. The team better be winning. They better be going to championships, or it's a waste of energy to me. You're the people, you're one of the people that they talk about that need to go somewhere and shut up because you're doing all this talking, but it's not showing anything. And before anybody go, well, he got Philly to the championship. No, he didn't. He got hurt week 12. The only reason he was in that Super Bowl was because he forced himself in. Technically, he probably shouldn't even been in it. Anybody else that had hurt themselves like that wouldn't have been allowed to play. You know it, I know it. They should have and could have won that Super Bowl. If one of the things that they had done, you got deep threats, use them. And yes, I know they played my Patriots, and that was one thing that had me scratching my head. There was a question about the DB play, and they were susceptible to getting beat deep, and yet Carolina didn't do it, Philly didn't do it, and if I'm not mistaken, the Rams didn't do it either. That contributed to why they lost. And yes, I'm saying that about my team. It is what it is. There was a weakness. It wasn't exploited. That was part of the reason why you lost. Plain and simple. But anyway, so I I hear you. I hear you, and I can't I can't say you're wrong because had they tried to protect him and did him like everybody else and not let him play, he wouldn't be injured. So you have a point. You do have a point that maybe they should have tried to protect him, but then they wouldn't have been able to see what he was capable of and seen the potential until week 1. And fortunately for them, he's not he didn't go the way of Kajana Carter. So they still have a chance to see what he can do in the regular season with the first stringers. So, but that tackle is still being done. So whether it happens in the regular season or it happens in the preseason, if it happens, there's probably going to be a good chance for injury. So that would be a question. Um, how to let the defensive guys tackle and yet avoid injury? Can you avoid injury? That's something that I think me and Mr. J will talk more about next week. But this week's gonna go a little different for the simple fact that I'm rolling by myself, and we are gonna see just how much fun I can have with this. Now, everybody's favorite thing. Everybody's favorite person, Skip Bayless, is in the news because multiple people, according to my computer, have been going in on him about what he said about Westbrook not being his Hall of Famer. And just to give you an idea for those who may not know, because I finally broke down because my computer kept showing me different names were going after Skip. So I finally broke down last night and I finally looked it up. And I finally found somebody posted it on X, but I didn't go to X to find it, but I did see the snippet in the article from X, and I'm gonna play it right now.
So Russell Westbrook retired, and obviously numbers, his achievements say slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer. But I have been very consistent in my stance about Russell Westbrook, my view of Russell Westbrook's game. He would not be in my Hall of Fame. I don't hate the player, but I guess I hate the game. Just ain't my cup of Gatorade. But I will say this, I have great respect for how hard Russell Westbrook played the game of basketball every single dribble of 18 seasons. Played hard, man, all the way to age 37. Played fiercely, played all time intensely. I give you Russ that. 9-time All-Star, 2-time first team All-NBA, 2-time scoring champ, 3 times assist leader. 4 straight years of doing something I never thought I would see again after Oscar Robertson. 4 straight seasons of averaging a triple-double. Last 4 seasons in Oklahoma City playing for my Thunder. Back to the start of Russ's career at UCLA. I just didn't see him coming. And I watched Russell Westbrook's Bruins play in 2 straight Final Fours. He did not start. He was not a starter that first year, his freshman year, which did surprise me in hindsight. He did start his second year at UCLA, and he averaged 13 a game, 4 assists a game. I just didn't see him coming. I didn't see what Sam Presti saw when he drafted Russell Westbrook as high as he drafted him. I just didn't see it, but Sam Presti knows. He's proven again and again and again. He sees things coming, others do not. And right away in Oklahoma City, as you well remember, it was Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden. And pretty soon, I had a big problem with Russell Westbrook because in 2012, their breakthrough season as a team, when they did go to the NBA Finals, Russell Westbrook started averaging more shots per game than my favorite player at that point, Kevin Durant. I had predicted Kevin Durant would win multiple scoring titles when he was in Texas. I got laughed at on my first ESPN show called Pizza. And here he came. And there went Russell Westbrook shooting more shots than Kevin. And I began on First Take to criticize Russell Westbrook for shooting way too many shots, taking too many away from Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant one night called over the Oklahoma City beat reporter, the Oklahoman reporter. I think it was Darnell Mayberry, I can't remember for sure. But Kevin Durant blasted me and said I didn't know shit about basketball, protecting his little brother teammate Russell Westbrook. I guess I knew something about basketball because eventually, as you well remember, Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City, left Russell Westbrook high and dry, causing a feud between those two, big brother, little brother. And I was told by a source very close to Kevin Durant at that point that the main reason Kevin left Russ was because Kevin decided he would never win a championship with Russell Westbrook as his primary decision maker, his point guard, because Russ would dribble the ball off the floor every single time and decide whether it was his turn or Kevin Durant's turn. drove Kevin crazy. Obviously, drove Hazel crazy. It's okay. Calm down. We were both great. We were both barking at Russell Westbrook.
I'm gonna stop it there. Uh, all right. The thing with the dog, that was excellent timing. Um, that was great timing. Uh, I okay, I remember pretty much everything he spoke about, including him having something to say about Kevin Durant, uh, 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 about Kevin Durant and Kevin Durant being his guy, and then Westbrook getting in the way, and then KD calling him out, and yeah, I remember it all. And I I basically said and I did. I didn't watch every game, but I did watch enough games where I understood where Skip was coming from. So while other people were piling on Skip, and it's like, well, I mean, you got to explain it. And most people's excuse is the normal excuse. Well, it's a team game. It's a team game. They need some more pieces around them. It's like, but you're talking about how talented they are, and that they were going to a championship. And then when the results don't show what you said, then you start pulling out. This is why people say that people make excuses. Because when you're talking about how great they are and they're going to championships, you don't say nothing about how weak the pieces are. But when your point isn't made accurate, it's like you keep that in your back pocket, just so you can save face, and that's BS. Analyze your team. The one thing that that has ever met me will tell you when I would talk about people's other teams, like I'll give an example, football. I would talk to Bengals fans and Cowboys fans, and they go, "Well, who's your team?" I'm like, "New England Patriots." The only thing they got for me is Spygate. That's it. Because as soon as they say, "Well, they suck," and I'm like, "You're right," and they go, "What?" I go, "You're right." Like, I thought you said that was your team. I was like, "I did." It's like, "But how's that your team? You said that they suck." I'm like, "They do." But how you gonna say that and that's your team? I'm like, "Let me ask you a question. Name a team that is drafted the way that they did, picking mostly third, uh, third on down, and then developing the team during the season to have them ready by the playoffs. Name another team that has been. I'll make it easy for you. I won't say Super Bowl. I won't say conference championship. Name a team that has done that and has consistently made it to the playoffs like them. And they go, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "That's what I'm saying." It's like you're not wrong, but then the part that you got to do, you got to get out there and beat them. And there were teams that beat them, but not enough teams beat them to keep them out of the playoffs. And they're go out of the Super Bowl. And you can make up and you can say what you say about the refs. You're right, but the refs help a lot of teams make it. Help a lot of teams win. Well, how do you say that? I'm like, if you sit back and watch every game and watch every missed call, there are missed calls pretty much every time the ball is hiked because the refs aren't allowed to call every call because people don't want to be in the stands all night and fans don't want to be up watching the game all night. I gotta work in the morning. My kids got school. Well, then take your butt to bed. Watch it on the replay. Check out the highlights on ESPN. But if you want the refs to do their job, unfortunately, that means to they probably need to call every call, but if they call every call because the level of discipline isn't what it used to be, and because of some of the rules, it makes it harder on the defense to do their job. It's a combination of reasons, not just the refs making or not making calls as to why teams lose games. I rarely hear anybody call anybody out for certain plays. And I figured that out by actually watching games and talking to people about games. Beat a dead horse moment. The Bengals. Sorry, Mr. J, got to do it. The Super Bowl. Everybody blames the refs calling the game in favor of the Rams on that last play, but nobody brings up that Tyler Boyd play. Nobody brings up the offensive pass interference that the Bengals got away with to get the lead in the first place, which seemed to wake up Aaron Donald because they pretty much had him in check up until that point. And it was like as soon as they got away with that offensive pass interference, he was like, "Oh, so that's how we playing today." Raw! He turned into Incredible Hulk, Aaron Donald. And then the Bengals couldn't stop him to save his life, save their life. And the one opportunity they had to get past the 50, Tyler Boyd did something he hadn't done all year. He dropped the ball. Had he not dropped that ball, the Bengals would have at least gotten a field goal or a touchdown because they were finally moving the ball. Tyler Boyd drops the ball. If he doesn't drop that ball, they finally get past the 50 since that offensive pass interference call that they got away with to take the lead. All they would have had to do was get a field goal, kill more clock, get a field goal or a touchdown. Either one, the Bengals finally win a Super Bowl. And their curse is done. And so many Bengals fans. There was only one Bengals fan that wanted to argue that point. Everybody else was like, yeah, unfortunately, you're right. It's like, I'm just saying. If you're gonna blame the refs, remember the refs were the reason why you got the lead in the first place. Because had they made that call, you guys would have never got the lead. At least not up until that point. You might have had an opportunity somewhere else, maybe, because who knows? If the ref calls that call and you guys keep Aaron Donald in check, that could give y'all some other opportunities to get an actual legit touchdown with no offensive pass interference to piss off Aaron Donald, and then you guys can win the Super Bowl. Because even on that play with the offensive pass interference, you guys were moving the ball. But that was also during the time that y'all pretty much had him held in check. So yeah, there's that. But to the subject of Russell Wilson, Russell Westbrook. I am so sorry, Russell Westbrook. Um, Unfortunately, and I gloat about it a lot, but it's unfortunate. He falls into that category of many that had the talent to win a bunch of championships, and whether you want to call it chemistry, whether you want to call it strategy, you could probably say all of that and you would have a point. And you could point the finger at everybody around him. You could point the finger at KD leaving. You could point the finger at 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 uh at Harden leaving, taking the money and going somewhere else. You could point the finger there if you wanted to. I mean, bottom line, he was a talent and he should have at least one championship in his back pocket. He should at least have one. But what's all the talent in the world if you're playing a team game and the team is not flourishing together? That's the one question I will leave. Now, what he said about Russ, maybe I'll go and I'll watch everybody else's take to try to figure out what their beef was with what he said. Because the only thing I I'm gonna watch the whole thing, the whole little snippet, and maybe even jump on X and see if I could find it to watch the whole thing to see what kind of beef that they had with him, other than him saying that he's not in his Hall of Fame. Well, he's not in his Hall of Fame because if I were to guess, it's like he should have he should have done better by him and Kevin so that they could have been the ones to bring a championship to OKC before SGA. I'm guessing, but that would be a reason. And last I checked, if everybody has a right to their own opinion, he has a right to that opinion. Now you have a right not to agree with it enough to bash the guy. I mean, if that's the angle you want to take, okay. But I know I don't agree with him. But I've been a fan of Skip's, and there's been a lot of times I don't agree with him. I didn't agree with him on God, what's his name? The uh the quarterback from Tim Tebow. I never agreed with him on Tim Tebow. And I also hilariously disagreed. And I feel like Skip was just trying to get under Stephen A's skin, which he did a great job of it. But I also didn't agree with him that one of the weapons that the Spurs had that people weren't ready for was Tiago Splitter. Um, you you had to have been there. Look it up. I'm sure somebody put a reel of it on YouTube or somewhere on the internet where you could find it. But it was the most hilarious take. And the Spurs are my guy. The Spurs is my team. Anybody that has watched the show, you know the Spurs is my basketball team. They've been my basketball team for a long time. Since I walked away from Detroit. Yeah. Yeah. Because I didn't like them firing uh Joe Dumars when Joe Dumars took over in the front office and he got the one championship, and then when they turned around and they lost the championship, I believe is when they fired him, and I was not happy about that. And so I started riding with the Spurs. So uh, yeah. Actually, I might have let go of them before that. Yeah, I did, because I went, yeah, I let go of them before that. I was still kind of riding with them, but not as much as I was riding with Houston. Once Olajuwon retired, I think that's when I became a free agent. Kind of was still rocking with Detroit, and when they were shocking the world and winning championships, and then when they fired Joe, um I was like, yeah, okay, I'm completely done now. because Joe D was my guy. So let's see. But yeah, he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. I there was also a lot of his stuff I didn't agree with the way I felt like I wished he would have been different so that like KD, he would have at least a couple of championships. I wish his style of play was different, but then again, I wish that for Allen Iverson too. I respected Allen Iverson's game, but I felt like his game was part of what held him back from being an NBA champion, and obviously he had the skills to be an NBA champion. You'd have to be dumb to say he didn't. And yes, it doesn't work out for everybody, but everybody's not going to win a championship. You got to be in the right place at the right time. All that stuff is true. But at the same time, if your style of play would have been more team friendly, or if it had been more coach and team friendly, how many championships would you have? Is the question. And that's a legit and a fair question. Now, should he have been like Russ is not in my Hall of Fame? I mean, it does sound asinine, especially when you start talking about all of his accolades. It sounds a little asinine, but people got to make up their mind. Do people have a right to their own opinion, or do people not have a right to their own opinion? Fortunately for us, it's not Skip's Hall of Fame. So Russ does get in. Now, enough of that, because quite frankly, uh, there's a the NFL season has started. The college football season is starting. And is anybody ready for some football? Now, that takes me to the next topic that I found that I wanted to talk about. Um, and we're gonna get a little more into this next week with uh with Mr. J, but I wanted to cover it a little bit because I found it interesting. So I found this article. Actually, no, we'll we'll wait on that because there was an article that I forgot that I wanted to talk about. So over the weekend, last week, last week over the weekend, and this thing seems to be getting worse and worse. And I'm seeing this stuff on the internet, and now people are really coming out at Jaden Daniels. You have a right to feel how you feel. I'll say that again. And to really put this into context, let's put up Jaden Jaden Daniels college stats because I need context on this for the simple fact that there's a snippet that I'm gonna play and where he is called out and he is basically told he was no Joe Burrow. which for me, and he kind of walked, to me, he kind of walked himself into that when he made the statement when he brought he brought Joe into it. And that was like the last thing he should have done. That is the last thing he should have done. Now he has the right to do what he wants. He's a grown man. I know that's what people love about. He can do whatever he wants. He's a grown ass man. You're not wrong. But when you do that, you open up a can of worms that you might want to leave closed. So, oh, perfect. And now let's bring up Joe Burrow's college stats. Here we go. So he redshirted in 2015. His freshman year, he played 6 games, had 22 completions out of 28 attempts, 78%, 226 yards. Nothing to write home about. Second year with Ohio State, 5 games, seven completions, 7 of 11 completions, 63 for 61 yards. Um, Again, nothing to write home about. His breakout times were at at LSU, where his 2019 year, in 2019 is where he had his best year. Where let's see here, in 2018 he had 219 completions of 379 attempts, 57%, just under 2,900 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Let's see here. And then 2019, he had 402 completions out of 527 attempts. That's 76%. He had over just under 5,700 yards, 60 touchdowns with 6 interceptions. And he won the Heisman, he won the Maxwell. Um, so yeah, but his total for the season, total for his career was 8,852 yards with 78 interceptions and 11 interceptions. Now let's look at Jaden. Jaden played more games his first year, so obviously he had more yards. 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had he did 62% on 193 completions out of 310 attempts for just under 2,800 yards. His second year, he played 4 games, 49 of 84 completions, 58%, 701 yards. 5 interceptions, I mean, 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. Then his third year at Arizona State, he played 12 games, had 186 of 280 attempts, 66%. Uh, had another season over 2,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. got sacked a lot that year and sacked a lot his first year. But he had over but he had over 2,000 yards again. So, then he went to LSU. He was 68% on 254 completions of 371 attempts out of in 13 games, just under 2,800 yards, 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. His best year was 2023, where he had 40, where he had 40 touchdowns and four interceptions, was only sacked 22 times. Okay, so let's look at let's compare their years at wow. So they kind of did the same thing. It's weird. They kind of did the same thing. His first year in 2018, Joe Burrows, he had 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Jaden's first year at uh at LSU, he had 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Who had more yards? Not looks like Joe Burrow did. Not by much though. Um, because Joe had about, let's see here, 2894 and 2774. He had about 120 more yards. Okay. His first year than Jaden. Then the second year, oh, yeah, he put a shellacking. He beat him by 20 touchdowns, and Jaden had, and Joe had two more interceptions than him, but he beat him by, let's see here, 5,671. So that's about 1,700 yards difference. Let's do the math on that. Let's see here, 5671. 5671 minus 3812. Yeah, 1,859 yards. So the 2 years that they both spent at LSU, clearly his overall career, Jaden did better than Joe, but granted, and he also played more years. So it looks like 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Yeah, he played 5 years. So his career he beat Joe by like 4,000 yards. Unfortunately for Joe, his first 3 years he redshirted 2015, so naturally they don't count that. And his first 2 years with Ohio State, he didn't get much playing time. So that partly factors in. But according to what he said about comparing himself to Joe Burrow at LSU, I understand why LSU fans are like, dude, whatever. It's like, yeah, you won the Heisman, but if I'm not mistaken, Joe won the Heisman and they won the national championship. Let's see here. What does Yeah, he won the Walter Campbell Award. So did Jaden. So look, I mean, you have to have some understanding for in terms of there was a promise that was supposed to be kept. And Lane did not feel that uh it was worth losing a player if part of what it took to get the talented player was that he get to wear his favorite number. I understand where Jaden may have a problem and feel like he should have some say, but I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It just at the end of the day, they didn't retire your number. It was still available. So, mm, mm. He has a beef to do it enough to tell them to like stop using his likeness. At this point, if they're using your likeness, I thought people were supposed to be getting paid. So, I mean, if they're using his likeness and he's not getting paid, well, that would should be the number one reason that they should stop using it. Um, because everybody is supposed to be getting paid because of the using of the likeness, last I checked. So, yeah. I hope they figure this out because to me, it's the LSU has bigger problems than Jaden Daniels being mad because somebody is using his number. They got bigger problems because Lane Kiffin's there and how that whole thing ended with Lane Kiffin and stuff. Yeah, Lane Kiffin got enough problems than having to deal with that. So. What else is going on that I want to talk about? I hope they figure it out because, like I said, the whole thing is crazy. Understandable, but still crazy. So let's see here. I saw an article. It's on fan sided, and it says that the Washington Commanders are going to be without one of their quarterbacks for the remainder of the preseason. Thankfully, it's not starter Jaden Daniels. That would be a nightmare scenario. Instead, his backup, uh, M Marcus Mariota, suffered a MCL sprain during the team's 20-7 win over Miami. Pittsburgh Steelers. It says something about a trade. I'm looking for it, but I don't see anything about a trade. Let's see here. Pittsburgh Steelers are running with Aaron Rodgers for one last ride, but at the same time attempting to determine whether former head coach Mike Tomlin or Mike McCarthy's pick for the team's future will be the better succession plan. Tomlin drafted Will Howard. McCarthy chose Drew Aller in April, pitting the two former Big Ten foes against each other. Um, that's left veteran backup Mason Rudolph in an awkward situation, realizing at 31 years old, he's going to have to find a new home in 2027. Uh, Quarterback needs can evolve quickly across the league, just as Washington has experienced. So why shouldn't the Commanders snag a reliable veteran at a cheap? What? He is not reliable. If he was reliable, he'd be a starter at this point. Dude, that is so basically what they're saying is that since the Steelers have enough QB turmoil to figure out, why don't they hand over Mason Rudolph to the Commanders? I, I mean, they could, but Mason Rudolph hasn't Mariota has done more up to this point to me to show that he's a reliable backup than Mason Rudolph, in my opinion. So yeah, that's grasping at straws. I hate when teams do that. They grasp at straws to try and they lean on that word veteran. They lean on that word veteran like it means something. Um, like if you have a situation like what Charlie Batch did for the Pittsburgh Steelers or what Slash was able to do for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's a different conversation. That's you bring that up as a possibility, kind of throwing it out there, and yeah, that I can see. But no, what they were talking about, no, absolutely not. Just no. It just is. My thing is it going to create improvement? If it's not going to create improvement, don't do it. Uh, let's see here. There was a whole bunch of articles that I saw, and I am about to piece through. Uh, um, um, so I saw something in an article regarding DeAndre Ayton, and yeah, we're gonna talk about it. And the reason why we're gonna talk about it is because this was another one of those situations where, to me, and yeah, there's this is a little ego moment. I always listen to people when they talk about certain players, and then I listen to see what some analysts say. I listen to some of the professionals, and I even try to watch their game. I didn't get to watch a lot of what went down at with DeAndre Ayton when he was in college, but what little I did watch, I wasn't that impressed with it. Kind of like the same way I wasn't impressed with Zion when he was at Duke. I wasn't. Everybody else was like so enamored, and I'm like, yeah, it's no, it's not gonna. It's not. He's gonna go to the NBA. He's gonna do the one and done, and it's not gonna go anywhere. And I was coined a hater. Well, how'd that work out? Um, Same thing with DeAndre Ayton. I didn't see he to quote the princess from Spaceball. He didn't do it for me. I just there are certain players that I saw that they do it, and it's like and there's a lot of other players that everybody's just so enamored with, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, we'll see. And they look at me like, man, you are a hater. I'm like, I am not. I'm not a hater. I evaluate the game, and according to what I see coming from him, I prove me wrong. I never said that about people like KD. I never said that about Westbrook. I never said that about LeBron. I never liked the thing I never liked about LeBron was he was being coined the king before he even touched foot on the court. If anything kind of spurned me off from him, was that. It was like, dude, he hasn't even set foot on the court yet. Let's everybody calm down. And I still stand by what I said by that. And that was not me being disrespectful. I felt like it was too much too soon. Just like with the Ball brothers. I wasn't on the hype train for that. I wasn't on the hype train for Linsanity. Yeah, I thought Jeremy Lin was cool. on some of my video game teams. He's won quite a few championships, but still, he just no. I wasn't as sold as everybody else. I wasn't getting caught up in the hype. But anyway, so this article is talking about how the Blazers have managed to do how they made out since they got rid of DeAndre Ayton. And let's see here. This was on Rip City Project. I believe that's what they call Portland, Rip City. So the Portland Trailblazers bought out former starting center DeAndre Ayton last offseason, getting him to forfeit 10 million of his salary for the upcoming season in the process. It also cleared a starting role for Donovan Clingan, who went on to have a breakout 2025-2026 season. The decision to move from Ayton into prioritize Clingan as center of the future looked great for GM Joe Cronin throughout the season. After seeing how the offseason has played out, things look even more in the Blazers' favor. The Blazers were right to move on from DeAndre Ayton. I said that while he was there. I saw what it was, and I'm like, yeah, that ain't it. The Lakers shortly realized that Aiden wasn't their solution at center, trading him to the Washington Wizards for guard Jaden Hardy and two second round picks. That was after Aiden picked up his $8.1 million option in 2026-2027 season, a figure that seemed extremely reasonable for a potential backup big given the Lakers' lack of depth. Um, Los Angeles, like Aiden's teams before him, Phoenix and Portland, decided to move on from former number one overall pick. That's just one season after Aiden described his excitement for landing with the Lakers, adding he was somewhere it counts now. See, here's the thing, and I keep telling people this. Eventually, it will show. You can call it hate in the beginning, but if somebody becomes a journeyman that never works out, eventually you got to take a look at that person. Eventually, you have to take a look and see, well, what are you doing? It ain't all about the front office. It ain't all about the white man. It ain't all about that. What if you're your own worst enemy? Trust me, I got experience with that, so I could speak on that. Um, Not proud to admit it, but it is what it is. So, but yeah, let's really talk about this thing. Let's bring up DeAndre Ayton's his numbers. Ayton, there he is. There you are, DeAndre Ayton. Guy that felt that he had finally landed somewhere. Yeah, you landed somewhere. Now you sitting over there with AD. All right. Now apparently Perk has a message to DeAndre Ayton after his trade to the Wizards, and I actually want to hear this.
because he's only making. This was a good pickup for the Wizards because he's only making $8 million a year. But DeAndre Ayton, this is a moment for you to have a level of accountability because right now you have one foot in the grave and the other on the banana peel when it comes to your NBA career. You was you are a former #1 overall pick. The Phoenix Suns, they gave up on you. The Portland Trail Blazers gave up on you. They had a better season when you left. And now all of a sudden, the Los Angeles Lakers saying, we want no parts of you whatsoever. And now you're going to the Wizards. He has to adjust his attitude, adjust himself, hold himself accountable. If not, we could possibly see DeAndre Ayton, and this being his last stop.
Didn't I just say that? I literally just said that. I'm not Perk. I haven't played in the NBA, but yet I said this. I just said the same thing. Again, it's not hate. I don't know DeAndre Ayton to hate him. But like I always say, if it looked like a duck and it quacked like a duck, damn it, it's a duck. You may want me to look at you like a distinguished goose. You may want me to look at you like the great bald eagle. Guess what? I gotta look at you like the duck you are. That's how the world works. That is exactly how the world works. You can be looked at, you can want to be looked at however you want, but they're going to look at you. The world is going to look at you exactly how you are portraying yourself, and they're going to judge you accordingly, and they're going to make moves accordingly. And most of the time, is it going to be unfair? Who knows? Now, let's see here. DeAndre Ayton. This is not showing. All right, there we go. Let's take a gander. Regular season averages. We'll go over that first. So, 2018, 2019. Played 30 minutes, about you round up, he played about 32 minutes a game, 31 minutes a game. Um, Field goal percentage was about 59%. Free throw percentage was about 75. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Offensive rebounds, he got about 3.1 a game. Defensive rebounds, he got about uh 7.1 a game, leading to 10.3 a game. 1.8 assists a game, 0.9 blocks, 0.9 steals, averaged about 16 points a game. Second year, he started 38. He started 32 games. He played 38. Averaged about 33 minutes a game. It's about 55%. Shot 23% from three all of a sudden. Free throws did 1 point better, did about 75%. Defensive rebounds and offensive rebounds went up a little bit. He went up to 11.5 for total rebounds. His assists went up by 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 a point, and he went up 2 points a game. His third year, he played 69, started 69. but his point totals dropped. His total rebounds dropped a little bit. Same with assists, same with blocks from his compared to his second year. Let's see here. Then his fourth year, he started and played 58 games, averaged about 30 minutes, field goal 63%. His three-point percentage went up. His free throw percentage dropped about 2 points. Offensive rebounds dropped about point 0.3, but he went back up 3 points a game. Next year, he started 67 games, played about 30 minutes, about 58. His percentage free field goal percentage dropped to 58%. His 3-point dropped to 29%. His free throws went back up to 76%. His overall rebounds dropped zero point 0.2 to just 10. And then he went up to 18 points a game again. And then he went to Portland, played 55 games, 57%, shot 10% from three. Um, free throw free throw percentage went up to 82%. That's impressive. Uh, total rebounds went up to 11, and he averaged about 17 points a game. Then he played 40 games for Portland his last year with Portland. Let's see here. Averaged about 30 minutes. Field goal percentage dropped to 56%. He was 18.8 from three. His free throw percentage dropped to 66%. Total rebounds dropped to 10.2 again. Assists and stuff was he went up to one block a game. Uh, dropped to 14 points a game. And then he went to the Lakers, played 72 games, shot 67% field goal percentage, free throws 64%, total rebounds dropped to 8. Yeah, that was a problem. He was not getting rebounds. Assists dropped below it was at point 0.8. Blocks was at one a game, average one a game. And then let's see here. Averaged about 12 and a half points a game. So his season totals. Bow. His total in points, his first year was 1159. Second year where he only played 38 games, he was at about 690 per game points wise. Third year where he played 69 games, he got just under 1,000. Fourth year where he played 58 games, he got just under 1,000. Wow. Then his fifth year, zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then his fifth year where he played 67 games, he got he got over 1,200. And then his sixth season, He got 920. He had played 55 games that year. That's pretty good. Uh, his first year at Portland. And then his second year at Portland, where he only played 40 games, he only got 576. And then he ended up with the Lakers, where he played 72 games, and his point totals was 897. It's like, wow, that was like, but really looking at his career, he's only had 2 years in his entire career where he played um 70 games. And then he had 2 other years where he played almost 70 games. And it was all with Phoenix. The 2 years that he played with Portland, he did not get over 55 games. He had 55 1 year, 40 the next year. Then he ended up with the Lakers and somehow went back up all the way back up to 72 games. So there's something wrong there because his games played 71, 38, 69, 58, 67, 55, 40, 72. There's there's something wrong there. I don't know what. I can't place my hand on it. Obviously, I'm not there with him, but yeah, there's not a whole lot of like consistency there. It's like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, way down. Um, I hope that him and if any of that has something to do with injury, amongst other things that it could have had something to do with. Um, I hope him and AD figure it out because I know AD is a talented dude, and I would love to see him get back to the AD of old. Um, if he could just somehow get a handle on that injury bug. To me, part of eight. That's a big part of AD's issue is the injury bug. DeAndre Ayton, I have no clue. I'm guessing with the amount of games played, the injuries had to have been a part of it. Because those were some drastic drops in games per year, especially if you've shown to be able to play almost a full season. You had 4 years where you showed where you could have played practically a whole season. So I hope you figure it out. And uh you got plenty of time to do it. Looks like you're 28 years old. So yeah. Um hope you figure it out. Now, over the weekend, as I told everybody, I watched a lot. I got to watch a lot of games yesterday, thanks to ESPN replay. Um, I saw I saw some tenacious defenses, some very tenacious defenses. And I saw some games and I saw some scores that made me question a lot of my picks. Um, um, Arizona now has me worried about my picks. Uh, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if the Commanders winning scares me because of who they played. Let's pull that up right now. Let's pull up. Yeah, so the games that I got to take a look at. I did get a chance to take a look at the Raiders Cardinals game. I did get a chance to take a look at the Browns and the Bears. I did get a chance to watch the Giants and the Vikings. And what other game did I happen upon? The Cowboys and the Seahawks. I did get to watch those games. Those games impressed me very, very much so, especially from the Cowboys. They just got Von Miller, but from what I can see from them, my thinking that the Cowboys might be a problem. Now, obviously, you gotta I could say that all day, but I'm not saying it like a lot of people used to say it, where they like, oh man, the Cowboys definitely gonna do something. Oh, Dak this, Dak that. Yeah, I'm not that dude. I'm the dude that used to laugh at those dudes when they used to be that confident. I'm like, we are talking about the Cowboys for God's sake. Let's pump the brakes, please. Just pump them brakes. So but yeah, bottom line was yeah, there was a lot of good games over the weekend. Anybody uh I didn't get to watch it, but I like seeing the score of the Saints game because that tells me that maybe Kellen Moore might be able to bring some offense out of the Saints to like make my prediction. Like I don't mind being wrong if it makes a team better. I mean, I got no stake in the Saints completely failing other than like personal uh wanting to be right. But, if I'm wrong on that, yeah, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. So, oh man, I'm gonna try to see if I can go watch that game. I'm going to try to see if I can go watch the Bills and the Panthers game. The Giants and the Vikings game was very interesting. It was very, very, very interesting because that game was like really, really close and their defenses were really, really tenacious. So yeah, I was very impressed. Matter of fact, I am about to see if I can pull those up right now. But um uh I have to say, I was shocked. Um, the Cowboys have me. They've now made me worry about my Seahawks picks. I'm now worried because I picked the Seahawks to win a lot of games, and I'm now kind of worried about that. So, because at the end of the day, I do want to beat Jay. Let's not get it twisted. I want to beat Jay. Last year, the way the season played out, I did not like that. I did not like tying with Jay. Not that I consider him my enemy, but it's like this was a competition. This was a competition that I wanted to win. Let's not make any bones about it. I wanted to win that. It's not a if I wanted to win it. I wanted to win it. Just like I did basically what happened with the NCAA tournament. That's what I wanted to do with the NFL. So, but it's so hard to do um because of the fact that the way the teams are constructed, it's like you literally don't know. And it's the craziest thing ever that you don't know. Hey, baseball. Um, Tigers are up 4-0 on the Pirates. That didn't used to be a thing when I was little and lived in Detroit. Between Detroit and Cincinnati, the Pirates seem to always have their number. It was very annoying as a fan of those teams at the time. So so yeah, I cannot wait for next weekend. I will be making sure that I when I'm not at the movies because I got an anime that I want to see um called Castle in the Sky. Hopefully Cinemark lets me see it. And I don't know if anybody that watches my channel is a fan of Insidious, but I plan on being at the movie theater to watch Insidious this weekend for sure. By hook or by crook, I will be there. Um, let's see here. Is there anything else article wise that I wanted to talk about? Let's see. Oh, the Vikings signed a standout UFL pass rusher named Kevin Dyson. So apparently he's an outside linebacker who's coming off a strong season with the Houston Gamblers in the UFL. So to make room on the 90-man roster, they waived Arden Walker, who signed as an undrafted rookie in the spring and played 17 defensive snaps on Saturday's preseason game. Walker played collegiately at Missouri and Colorado. Um, Dyson also played in the FCS football with Bryant University at Rhode Island from 2019 to 2023. He's 25 years old. He recorded 24 and a half sacks and 34 total tackles for loss over the final three seasons. Dyson went undrafted in 2024, signed with I thought his name sounded familiar. He signed with the Panthers, where he spent most of his rookie season on the practice squad, but did appear in two regular season games. After being waived in 2025, Dyson spent the spring in the UFL across 10 games with Houston. He had 4.5 sacks and seven total TFL and 38 pressures on 196 pass rush snaps. PFL gave him an 86.4 in pass rush grade. This could be something that's definitely something that Minnesota's needing, especially while they're trying to figure out what to do at quarterback. They definitely need to like their defense needs to be able to rush the quarterback and keep the other team's offense off the field, bottom line. So hopefully he works out in his second attempt in the NFL. Let's see here. Is there anything else? Nah. So I will say next week that there was an article that I saw that had to do with college that I can tell you we will be talking about next week as I'm looking through articles that um and I did find one article, two articles that I will be going over. There's a college football one that I'm gonna save for next week with Mr. J. So we're gonna do these last two articles and then I'm gonna call it a night. So the first article says NFL players who could be suspended before week one. Uh, Jonathan Cooper, linebacker for the Denver Broncos. He started all 17 games for the team in each of the last three seasons, was arrested twice this offseason. He was first arrested on June 4th along with his girlfriend by the Parker police and charged with assault by strangulation, second degree felony. Days later, he was arrested. Um, and this time booked on four charges, including harassment and violation of a protection order. The 28-year-old is now collectively facing charges of second degree of assault, strangulation, third degree assault, knowingly or recklessly causing injury, uh, criminal mischief, violating a protective order, and harassment. While he has been practicing throughout Broncos training camp, a multiple game suspension is likely. Um, I don't know what's going on in his life that has put him in this position, but I hope he figures it out because he has an opportunity that if I had a time machine, I would kill for. Um, hopefully he can, hopefully this simple suspension will help him see the light and he will get his life right and so that he can stay on the field and do what he loves. But this might be a question. It's like, what's more important? Your feelings in the moment that puts you in a bad light for everyone to see, or the work that you put in on the football field to get to where you are now. At the end of the day, that's always going to be the question. Next up, we're actually going in reverse. I do remember hearing some stuff about Josh Jacobs. He was arrested on five charges, allegedly, which included strangulation with misdemeanor counts for assault, criminal damage to property, intimidation of a victim, and disorderly conduct. He he's since been practicing with the team, with local prosecutors still mulling charges months later, with the investigation ongoing as his lawyer continues to vehemently deny the claims made against him. Given the uncertainty surrounding the legal situation, we had presumed that Jacobs likely wouldn't face a suspension from the NFL until 2027 season. However, Adam Schefter reported last week that an announcement of a suspension for Jacobs for week before week one is on the table. Again, I don't know who you got in your life. I would rather be single. If that's what you're gonna be in, bro, stay single. And I know that's easy for me to say because I'm actually doing it, but I mean, you got to make a decision. It's like what's more important, your peace and you having your freedom or having control of all situations in your life at all costs. There are certain situations that it ain't worth controlling. When you end up as a part of a story like this, in my personal opinion, whoever's in your life that's causing that gotta go. But that, again, that's just my opinion. And next up is Tyreek Hill. A slow recovery from a devastating knee injury last season in which he suffered multiple ligament tears isn't the only reason Tyreek Hill isn't on an NFL roster right now. This is true. The former All-Pro offensive weapon reportedly might not be cleared to play football until midway through the 2026 NFL season. On top of that, he could be facing a suspension whenever he is signed. Hill has a lengthy history of off the field issues and allegations of abuse, including recently court documents released in October detailed 8 allegations of domestic violence against him. He also faced a lawsuit from an influencer alleging that Hill broke her leg during a football lesson at his house when Hill became enraged and forcefully and purposefully shoved her. Again, what's more important? Being in the moment, having control of all moments, or your peace and your freedom and your ability to live your life and do something that many people wish they could be doing. Um, I've always respected Tariq Hill, but constantly hearing his name in stories like this, I've always been rather disappointed because I feel like that stuff is like holding him back from the champion that he is, obviously, because he did win a championship. And I feel like it's getting in the way of and putting a bad mark on who he is and painting a picture that may not be completely him. And we could say it's not fair, but it's like walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's duck. I tell people that like to live that life all the time and they blame other people. I'd always give them this analogy. If you're a rabbit and you get caught in a trap, okay, you get caught in the trap the first time, you could say that the hunter was wrong. But if you get caught in there a second time, a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time, how many times do you get caught in the same trap before you have to stop blaming the hunter and blame yourself for falling into the same trap? Because even if you didn't know the first time, you can't say you didn't know the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. You gonna say you didn't know no better? And the trap was clearly there for you to see? Same trap? Again, I wish him luck. I want to see him on another team. I want him seeing the I want to see him being the dangerous wide receiver he was when he was in with the Chiefs. Say what you want about the Chiefs letting him go, but they're looking like geniuses right now. Look at how his career has played out since he left Kansas City. Out of all the craziness off the field that has happened to him, there was only one incident where it was found that he was not in the wrong, and that was that cop, uh, that the cop incident that, if I'm not mistaken, cost the cop his job. That when this recent stuff came out about Tariq, he decided to chime in on social media. Like that somehow vindicated him. That didn't vindicate you. You were still wrong for what you did to Tariq. People kill me trying to turn something into something that it's not. It's not your vindication. The details of the situation, you were in the wrong. That's why you lost your job. Somebody actually did something right for a change. It's like, okay, bro, you was wrong on that, and you making us all look bad. You got to go. More police par apartments, more police departments did that. Things might be different between them and the public. But I digress. Let's stick with sports, shall we? Puka. Yeah, Puka, 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 Puka. Puka. Puka Nakua. I like Puka Nakua. I don't like what I hear off the field about Puka Nakua. Other than him going into rehab. Puka Nakua has made plenty of headlines in recent months for his behavior and comments off the field, with one of those incidents already resulting in discipline from the NFL. The Los Angeles Rams wide receiver received a $25,000 fine in December for public comments he made about officials during a live stream with Aiden Ross. The All-Pro wideout has since faced legal scrutiny following an alleged incident on New Year's Eve in Los Angeles, where he allegedly made anti-Semitic remarks and allegedly made an unprovoked anti-Semitic statement and later bit a woman on her shoulder. While Nakua has avoided further incidences, both both went to a rehab facility and began undergoing therapy this offseason. There's still a very real chance that the NFL suspends him multiple games, and missing week one is on the table. No. Uh, Alaric Jackson, left tackle for the Rams. There was a lot of Rams at the beginning. There's like too many Rams in this. Matter of fact, let me see. Hold on. There's Alaric Jackson, Puka Nakua. Okay. Yeah, so far two, but then who's the first? Yeah, let's see here. That gun it. Alaric Jackson, left tackle for the Rams. With the potential season that they're looking at having, the Rams don't need any of this. The Rams could have a pair of NFL players, two starters suspended for their regular season opener in Australia. Left tackle Allard Jackson previously had a alleged, it doesn't say alleged, but I'm saying alleged because this is my show. Had an alleged felony domestic violence charge against him, but the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office dropped the felony charge as a part of a pre-filing diversion. The domestic violence incident falls directly under the personal conduct policy, and the Rams left tackle could be facing a lengthier ban, given he was already suspended 2 games in 2024 for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy following a civil suit for allegedly filming a sexual encounter without the woman's consent. There's no timeline for an announcement, but we'd be surprised if Jackson plays in September. Quit making a trail. You make a trail, you get yourself labeled. Allard Jackson, I don't know you. Hopefully, hopefully if you do get suspended, hopefully this wakes you up. And then let's see here. The NFL League delivered a classic Friday news dump before the weekend, with four players receiving suspensions to start 2026 season. Atlanta Falcons edge rusher James Pierce Jr. received a large multiple game ban, but he might not be the only big name who is suspended before the season kicks off. Let's take a look at a few players. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, wow. So let's see how many games he received. Impact. James Pierce Jr. suspension. Impact on Atlanta Falcons. Details on and why felony charges may be dropped. Oh wow. He got suspended 8 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct rule earlier this season. Pierce has received an 8-game ban after he was arrested in February for a domestic dispute involving WNBA player Rakia Jackson. I remember that because I talked about it on the show. Pierce was charged with 3 felonies following the incident on February 7th in Florida. The Miami-Dade state attorney filed 4 total charges against him, including aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, fleeing and eluding the police, and resisting an officer with violence to his or her person. Wow, that was a mouthful. Um, Jackson called the police. So it stemmed from an incident where Rakia Jackson, who plays for the Chicago Sky, called the police after Pierce allegedly followed her car, then repeatedly used his car to hit hers when she attempted to make her way to the Doral police station. Wow. When Pierce was confronted by a police officer, he allegedly fled in his vehicle and led the law enforcement on a subsequent chase until he crashed into an intersection. After getting out of the vehicle and fleeing, he was eventually subdued by officers when he attempted to resist arrest. 22-year-old edge rusher agreed to a fast-track pretrial intervention program, as his lawyer told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Ooh, yeah, I remember talking about this. Yeah, he just got in the league. Hopefully he figures it out. I just, man, that is going to be a blow to their defense. There's no way to say that it's not because he was a very talented player. And if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the players that they talked about during the draft that people were high on, but he fell in the draft. And I'm gonna confirm this next week with Mr. J, or I'll at least confirm my decision. But with that, um, I know that that's like a sucky way to end the show, but I mean, I mean, this stuff has to be talked about. It needs to be called out, and it needs to be called out in a way that's real, respectful, and yet real. Um, Obviously, I'm not these people. I'm not in their shoes. Obviously, I haven't made the best decisions in my life. But at the same time, they have an opportunity. Again, they have an opportunity that most people don't get. And these moments are about to take it away from them if they don't figure it out. I'm Dante Suave. This is United World of Sports, and we'll see you guys next week.